What's up everyone and welcome to the Draft Dynasty channel. Today we are back with our usual scouting report, and this time we have defenseman Jérémie Poirier, an offensive defenseman, and he is one of the hardest players for me to evaluate, and I'm sure a lot of scouts are gonna have a hard time with him because there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff. But let's start with his profile. So he is born on June 2nd. He's still 17 years old, so he's on the younger side for this year's draft. 6 foot 192 pounds, so he's pretty big already. One thing I'm gonna say, he's not very strong physically. He doesn't have yet his men's strength, but he's pretty heavy. If we look at his stat, I think the most impressive thing is the 20 goal. This is the most in all the CHL for draft eligible defensemen. Also, for those 20 goals, 15 of them were scored at even strength. So this is also leading the CHL. I think the second best is Jake Thompson with 9 goals. As usual, let's use the premium tool on elite prospect. So I already ranked them by defenseman for draft eligible in the QMJHL, minimum 20 game for the past 20 years. And like I said, they're ranked by point per game, and he's number 12. One thing that I want to highlight here is that if you can pause here and look at the name, there's a lot of bust in there, either bust or player that didn't reach the NHL. So there's not a lot of impactful defensemen on that list. There you have a few up top, but where he's ranking, there's not a lot of big name. So I would say the QMJHL is not really well known for having produced a lot of quality defensemen over the past 20 years. And before we start with the clips, I just want to pull out the good old spreadsheet and show you a few incredible stats that he's got. So first of all, the amount of shot that he got per game is absolutely nuts. Him and Lucas Cormier are in a league of their own. So if I rank here, already ranked them, so you can see Lucas Cormier and Jérémie Poirier are on a complete different stratosphere. They're way above any other draft eligible defenseman in the CHL. The shot per game is pretty good indicator of what the player is going to be in the future. It's a good tool to use in whenever you're building a model with projection. Just to give you a better idea, I'm gonna compare and add the forward in there and see where he's ranking. So he is, you can see he's really close to the top. He is 5th, I think. Yeah, 5th when you include the forward. So this is absolutely nuts, the amount of shot he was able to generate this year. And one final stat before we start the clips, and this is where things get really tricky. It's the goal against at even strength. So 101 goals against at even strength. This is the most for any player, forward, defenseman, you name it. Yes, he was playing on a bad team. He was also playing a lot of ice time. But if you click here, the average is 32 goal against at even strength, and he's at 101. It's a little bit scary. Alright, so let's roll some clips. And for him, I'm gonna start with the thing I like the most about his game. And you could have picked two categories with him really, either his shot or his stick handling. I decided to start with the stick handling because he's so much ahead of every defenseman this year. He's in a league of his own in the stick handling department. I mean, just take a look at this clip. It's pretty crazy what he's able to do with the puck. I don't think there's any defenseman really this year that could do a move like that. So the level of difficulty is really high with some of the moves he's able to do. He's also really good at protecting the puck. He has a long reach, so he's able to protect the puck really well. It's hard to take away the puck from him. And overall, physically, he's someone that is highly gifted athlete. He's pure offense, pure raw skills, and there's a ceiling to what you can achieve with your skills. So you have some player that they could do some stick handling drill for 1,000 hours, and they're never gonna have the same level as he does. He's just born with a high skill level that a lot of players are never gonna be able to reach, because there's only so much you can do when you train. You try to develop your own skill. There's a ceiling to what you can achieve. With him, that ceiling is very high.
The 2-0 lead. Here comes Poirier, up to the line, dances through a couple of players, and then side of the net.
This is the puck to Poirier, who reverses the Villeneuve behind his own goal. Poirier, couple nice moves. He's off the center, in over the blue line. Poirier walks in, backhand, and it's up and over top of the goal. Some nifty stick handling by Jérémie Poirier. Now Poirier once more. He tries to feed it through.
Senog power play. Chaykovich will drop it back now for Poirier. Poirier will skate down center. Poirier dodging Scuba. He'll come down left wing side. He'll cut now to the right side. Dodging. That's to go here in the second period. Villeneuve dodging Scuba. He'll get it for Poirier. Poirier dodging Charon and around Skubal.
I really think the stick handling part of his game is what unlock everything else, so it's really the key to his game. You probably saw a few end-to-end rushes. He's a really good puck carrier. One of the main reasons why he's so effective at carrying the puck in the other zone, it's because, well, he can deke one or two guy really easily. It's effortless for him to beat one guy, two guy. You have the impression that he could do it with his eyes closed, and there's not many defensemen, like I said, that are able to do that.
Rocher. Short pass for Poirier. Poirier coming into the Eagles zone. Now McDonald with it. Pass to Poirier. Shot us!
Let's transition to another category. We're going to take a look at his shot. This is something that is elite, like his stick handling, and it goes a little bit hand in hand, because one of the reasons he's able to get as many shots as he did, it's because he's able to beat the guy at the blue line. He's able to create for himself. So if we compare him to defensemen like Sanderson, Gooley, Schneider, Barron, all those guys are not really able to deke the first guy. They don't have the level of stick handling to get into high danger area, so they need someone to feed them. Now for the thing that he could improve for his shot, I think first of all, this is minor, but I think whenever he's doing a slap shot, his wind up is a bit too high. He's cranking it to the roof, a la P.K. Subban, so he could reduce that. I don't think he need to crank it that much. Other than that, his shot selection is pretty bad. So there's a lot, yes, he's shooting a lot, there's a lot of volume, but a lot of those shots are useless, and he should look to involve more his teammate. He's got a pretty good vision. I think sometimes he's a bit selfish. He should look to involve his teammate a bit more, because he have the vision to do it. And this is also true with the stick handling part. There's a lot of time where he's overhandling the puck, where he could simply make an easy pass to his teammate. I'm not sure if he's not trusting them, but sometimes he's just overhandling the puck, keeping the puck too long for himself. He should distribute it more.
Puck. Poirier putting on a stick handling clinic, now loses it in his skates and loses the puck.
Alright, so we've seen a lot of the good stuff. Now it's time to look at the bad stuff. I think a lot of you should know by now that defensively, he's a little bit of a problem. I wouldn't even say he's bad defensively. I would say he is awful. He's in a league of his own. He has a lot of things that he needs to work on. And if you're following me on Twitter, I think I was saying even before the season started with him, because I saw him play a lot last year, I would say 20-25 games. And I noticed he had a major problem defensively. So for me, coming into this season, I already knew he was good offensively. So my main focus, I wanted to track the progression defensively, how much better he could get, his one-on-one battle, intensity, work ethic, mental mistake, consistency. Those are all the things for me that were the most important when I was evaluating him. Okay, so let's start with his one-on-one and gap control. This is an area where he struggled a lot. First of all, I think backward skating is something he's gonna need to improve big time. He's not really fluid when he's skating backward, and his foot speed is pretty slow. When he's going forward, he's okay-ish, but backward, I don't think he's fast enough. And part of the problem is that he's not able to time himself with the other player. One of the tricky part when you're playing defense is when the other team is gaining speed in the neutral zone, you kind of need to start going backward. You cannot be flat-footed there, because you're gonna get burned every single time. No matter if you're a good backward skater or not, you cannot be flat-footed. This is a good example of what I mean by being flat-footed. Of course, on that sequence, he's gonna look extremely slow with almost zero mobility, but the reality is this is a mental mistake and a positioning mistake. You kind of need to read the play, what's coming at you, and adjust accordingly. You cannot improvise if you're already too deep in your zone with zero speed. There's nothing you can do. I think the number one reason why he's not good on one-on-one is he doesn't have the IQ and the vision to read what is coming at him, and also he doesn't have the mobility whenever he needs to pivot. It's not super fluid. He doesn't have the foot speed really to compensate his bad read.
On Poirier, he puts it through Poirier.
Throws the shoulder into Payton, who brings it in just onside. Payton goes around Poirier, backhands it right.
The four next clip are from the same game versus Cap-Breton, and those are not like huge mistake. Overall, just lack of awareness what's going on around him. He's making poor read, poor positioning, getting cut without enough speed, too much flat-footed again, and overall, he's just like of a construction cone. It's super easy to go around him, and this is the real problem. The amount of mistake he's making throughout the course of a game, it's insane. Let's just, for example, Caden Gooley, I think after the 10 game I've watched, maybe I had 5-6 clip with Jérémie Poirier. Honestly, I think I could make a 20-minute long video with only mistake defensively. And I'm sorry if I spend too much time highlighting the negative stuff, but I feel like I have to do it because he is in most people top 20 list and he's not gonna be in my first 2 rounds, so he's pretty much a no draft for me. As of right now, I have him ranked in my 3rd round, and I know realistically he's not gonna be available there. That's why I'm saying it's kind of a no draft. With all that said, I do think he is the best offensive defenseman available for this draft, but I simply think that there's way too much stuff that he need to improve, too much red flag. I'm not willing to take that kind of risk with him. I think he's gonna crush the QMJHL probably the next 2 years, but when it's come down to the NHL, I don't think he's gonna be reliable enough to be viable at 5-on-5. And ultimately, my philosophy with scouting, well, the end result, the end goal is to build a team to win. And I think at the end of the day, yes, he has the wow factor, he has the sexiness, a lot of highlight stuff, but the end result is that he is negative value for your team. I don't think he helped your team win a game.
Here's Ethan Crosman racing after it into the St. John zone. He centers, but Poirier is back to break that one up. He gets it to the line, not out. Trudeau's long shot.
In junior, player that are 17 years old, there's a lot of players that struggle defensively, so Poirier is not the only one that in that category. The major difference I have, though, with Poirier is that, for example, if you take a guy like Tim Stützle or Alexander Holtz, those two are not really good defensively. They made quite a bit of mistake, turnover. The main difference is that when they do make a mistake, they're gonna do something about it. They're gonna work hard and try to make up for their mistake. With Poirier, I found that a lot of the time he's quitting on play, so the intensity level is not quite there for me. I would say even one of the worst intensity level I've seen. If we take this clip, for example, I know he's not the fastest skater ever. He doesn't have the greatest top speed, but I mean, I'm sure he can skate faster than that. And there's a lot of time where I saw him back check with really zero effort. And this is a 1-goal game in the 3rd period with the game on the line.
And he fires it down the ice. This should be, could be, might be, isn't icing as Poirier got.
Burns will give it away. Here comes Charlottetown back the other way. Budgel, board-sided in. Power drive, right off in front.
Anyway, it looked pretty clear to me that he doesn't care about playing any defense. And I have a funny story. When I was younger, I was pretty good. And the first time my uncle came to see me, I think I had a hat trick. But at the end of the game, he told me, yeah, you had a good game, but you got scored 3 times during the game. And I remember till this day, I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and I cried like a baby. And in the end, if you want to be good defensively, you need to care. So it needs to hurt. Whenever you get scored, it needs to hurt inside. You need to care. And with him, I don't see that.
Out of nickel now, a chance for Simoneau with speed, 15 seconds. Simoneau's got Dufour to the net. Simoneau a pass to Dufour. They score. Simoneau again, that great speed. Poirier, the lone defender back, and Simoneau saw Dufour going to the net, just put it right to the tape.
One other thing is that I don't think he is a very good team player. So this here is just a little example of him not taking the hit to finish his play. I don't know what he did right there, but in that game, he was benched all the 3rd period. I'm not sure if it was about that play or all the 3 goals that he got scored on. But yeah, just some little detail like that leads me to believe he's not really a team player. I also saw him celebrate after scoring while his team was losing by 5 or 6 goals, or simply laughing at the other team after a goal. Anyway, I just get the feeling that he thinks he's a superstar, and it's not really the case, and he might be a player that is a little bit harder to coach. This is not based on anything concrete, just my feeling and assumption based on how he's playing.
But he found it up and off the water bottle. Tremendous shot. Here's a great look from behind the goal. Poirier taking it wide and then in.
Anyway, I think I'm just gonna wrap the video with some of the best goal and assists that I have on him. I don't want to be too hard on him. I still have a category of him taking too much risk. There's a lot of time where he plays aggressively, and I think he doesn't do a very good job at gauging the risk and reward. Whenever you take a chance, you want to have a good reward and not as big of a risk. When he's doing it, he's giving a 2-on-1, a breakaway. It's not really worth it, and he goes out of position for nothing too often. As always, if you like that stuff, please give it a like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any content. The next video is going to be on Lucas Cormier in a couple of days, and I just want to make something clear before I finish the video, because I've been pretty hard on him, but it's nothing personal against him. I'm just evaluating the player here. I'm sure he's a super nice kid, only 17 years old. Sometimes we forget how young those guys are. I feel like it's a little bit unfair for them because we put the standard and the expectations so high high. And at the end of the day, when I was 17 years old, I was not really mature. I was doing a lot of stupid stuff, and I'm sure most of you listening as well. So it's a bit unfair that we expect so much from them. And a little disclaimer, I do those videos simply for fun. I'm nowhere near a professional, so I could very well be wrong on him. And at the end of the day, he's gonna get selected pretty high, and he's gonna get plenty of chances to prove me wrong and play in the NHL.